Logical fallacies are fun to put into writing for many reasons. There are so many of them that this video is technically an extension of this video. Don't worry, you don't have to watch the first one to watch this one. But first, what are logical fallacies? A logical fallacy is an argument that may sound convincing or true but is flawed. Logical fallacies are leaps of logic that leads us to unsupported conclusions. People may commit a logical fallacy unintentionally due to poor reasoning or intentionally to manipulate others. So let's talk about how they're used in different media. And in this video in particular, I want to emphasize how manipulation can be kind of funny sometimes. Yes, I said it, the comedy in manipulation. So let's jump into it. Many different logical fallacies exist, but I'd like to discuss some that I feel like featuring. False dilemma, red herring, appeal to popularity, slippery slope, sunk cost fallacy, argument by pigheadedness, scapegoat fallacy, cherry picking, and false cause fallacy. Let's start off talking about Tangled with one of the most manipulative characters in all of fiction, Mother Gothel. In the song Mother Knows Best, while trying to convince Rapunzel to stay, she commits many fallacies. But here's one we haven't brought up yet. Let's see.
You want to go outside? Why, Rapunzel? Look at you, as fragile as a flower. Still a little sapling, just a sprout.
This right here is what we call a red herring. Basically, it's an argument that distracts you from the real issue. If Rapunzel is asking to leave the tower, Mother Gothel's concern about how young and fragile she is pretty much irrelevant. People usually do this when they want to mislead someone or if they don't feel like answering the question. I find it particularly interesting that she barely answers the question for the majority of the song. If I were to highlight the responses that actually answer the question, can I leave the tower, you can see it's a very small number compared to the other mumbo jumbo. All of this shifts the focus away from the discussion, and it is indeed very distracting and manipulative. But out of all the things Gothel says, I feel like this one is the worst offender of the red herring. Also, now that we're on the topic of red herrings, that scene with Larry where you confront him about being racist and he randomly starts talking about protecting Lily, that's a classic red herring. Beautifully done. It distracts and avoids a real conversation. Okay, back to Gothel. Now let's discuss the entirety of the song. Yes, the whole damn song has a logical fallacy. Gothel presents her argument in this matter. Either you stay inside and be safe with me, or you go outside and die a horrible death by the evils of the world. What did she say specifically? Ruffians, thugs, poison ivy, quicksand, cannibals, snakes, the plague? Literal bars, but this fallacy here is the false dilemma, also known as the either-or fallacy. This happens when someone presents their argument as two options or two sides when there's actually more possibilities. It basically oversimplifies a situation by suggesting that one must choose between this choice or that choice, when in reality it's more nuanced than that. And obviously, when you watch the rest of the film, sure, she's in danger, but there are plenty of times where she's safe. None of the things that Gothel yaps about actually happens. Well, okay. Now, this whole song is full of different fallacies, including ad hominem, which is attacking someone's character, and not the argument. Straw man fallacy, which is someone misrepresenting someone's argument, and appeal to emotions. Find all three and I'll give you a high five. Yay! Okay, next I wanted to give an example from one of my favorite comics, Wipeout. Yes, that Wipeout that Koispeck made. I reread the whole comic just to include it in this video. Okay, but anyway, this story takes place in a world where technology has allowed celebrities to be heroes and villains. The hero and villain thing is treated like a sport, and like any sport, people are ranked. Let's take a look at Act 1, Part 2. Forgive my cursed voice acting. I am not a professional. The leaderboard is sectioned off into 3 boards, and the corresponding HVS are called Bronze Star, Silver Star, and Superstars. The few that have made it to Superstars have audiences on the same level as famous celebrities. What rank is he? This hero, Sharkbait, is ranked on the lower half of the bronze leaderboard. Oh, is he not important then? Well, Let's keep going. This guy isn't even silver rank. This fallacy is called appeal to popularity, or also known as appeal to tradition. It's a logical fallacy where a belief or action is considered correct or good simply because it's old or has been done for a long time. And let me clarify that not every appeal to tradition is some ancient medieval folklore from eons past. No. If I recall, the hero and villain rankings are a very new thing. But even if the tradition is new, we already have a belief system in place regarding who should be deemed important in this society and who is implied to be unimportant. Emphasis on implied because no one said it, but we all know what they're hinting at. The argument here is that only important people are in the higher ranks. Kai is on the lower half of the bronze leaderboard, therefore he's not important. Appeal to popularity is so interesting in this scenario because this kid is asking trusted adults for information and his viewpoint has now been shifted thanks to these three devaluing Kai. Yes, I'm blaming Baldy here too, since silence is a form of communication. He could have spoke up and said, no, Kai is important. Or no, he would have said shark bait is important. Never forget that silence is a form of communication, guys. Okay, anyways, the ranks are also dependent on the audience. I can imagine getting to superstar status is an uphill battle for rising stars. Implying that he's not important is kind of sad, like low-key, but since this is Kai we're talking about... I'll always encourage you, the audience, to form your own opinions first before relying heavily on the masses. Okay, so side tangent, but while rereading, I thought Calais would be the most manipulative one for some reason, but nah, it's mostly Kai and this dude. So yeah, Koi did a good job giving these characters characters. Also, a little birdie told me that if you find the examples of manipulation like appeal to ridicule, ad hominem, and loaded question in Wipeout, Koi would give you guys an all-expense-paid trip to any place you want, plus $1,000 and a signed copy of Wipeout. I can see them pissed off behind the screen. I'm kidding, guys. I'm kidding. Please don't kill me. Okay. Next, let's talk about my favorite cartoon, SpongeBob. I don't talk about how much I love this show, but I'd say it shaped my comedy. SpongeBob's comedy also relies heavily on logical fallacies. I think I came across a psychology YouTube channel that was breaking them down, but yeah, the show has a bunch of them, and when you know the common manipulation terms and the common buzzwords, it can make for great comedy because you could just satirize the hell out of it. Anyways, let me feature my favorite episode, Best Frenemies. Yes, it's from season 4. I don't give a fuck. Season 4 is good too, guys. Okay, so this episode, Krabs and Plankton team up to infiltrate the Kelp Shake restaurant. One of my favorite stims, like straight up echolalia, came from this episode and from this scene. Like, I would literally constantly repeat this in my middle school when I was like 14, but let's listen to it.
What the? Why didn't that guy order a deliciously overpriced fountain beverage with his Krabby Patty?
Mr. Krabs, we haven't sold a single soda in days.
What? Why not? All right, boy, it's done. You're gonna suck the whole cup down your gullet if you're not careful.
Sorry, Mr. Krabs. It's just that this kelp shake tastes so good.
Kelp shake?
Look around ya. Everyone's enjoying a delicious kelp shake. I'll be right back, Mr. Krabs. I'm gonna get a refill.
Refill? That's it. Listen up, everybody. New rule. No outside drinks. No exception.
That's it specifically, the no outside drinks, no exception shit. I don't know why I found this so funny back then, but this is a case of the slippery slope fallacy. This is an argument that claims an initial event or action will trigger a series of other events and lead to an extreme or undesirable outcome. And you can see the gears rolling in Krabs' head. If we allow people to bring in kelp shakes, then all my profits will go down. Then I'll lose my business. Then I'll have no money. Therefore, we need to ban all outside drinks. Sometimes we go through these long chains of events thinking the worst would happen if we don't stop one thing immediately. When we try to play God and try to control the situation out of fear and not evidence, we end up making the situation worse. And all of the customers storming out of the building after he banned outside drinks is indeed an example of how it can get worse. Next, we have another good quote from this episode. I think this one is another small gem.
I wouldn't do that if I were you. There's another ingredient.
Hey, I paid good money for this thing. Of course I'm gonna drink it. What the? I don't get what the big deal is.
This is what we call a sunk cost fallacy. Anyone who's vaguely into finance has probably heard this one before. It happens when someone is reluctant to abandon a strategy or course of action because they have invested heavily into it, even when it's clear that abandonment would be more beneficial. Mr. Krabs has stated that he spent good money on this scalp shake, and by good money he means $1. Even though what Karen may share with him can expose the drink to be harmful, Krabs decided that he had to lock in and drink the rest of this drink because he invested into it. Fun fact, but I kind of did that with YouTube as well. When I bought the microphone and soundproofing stuff for my channel, I was like, girl, if you buy all this shit, you better stick to YouTube. And I end up doing that. Ayo! Another example would be like those people who went to those expensive ass art schools when they were 18, and instead of dropping out so they're not further in debt, they kind of just stick with the program because they think, oh, I need to at least graduate, but they're $100K in debt. Kind of hits close to home for a lot of us, but not me because I went to state school, saved and paid off $10,000 in loans. Ayo! But real shit, if you're stuck justifying an investment, think of the future. Hear me. Think of the future and not the past. Okay, now let's yap about Wander Over Yonder. I feel like I'm using this video as an excuse to talk about all my favorite comics and cartoons, but yes, let's analyze a manipulation trick from one of my favorite episodes, The Good Deed. The plot of this episode is simple. Each time Wander does a good deed for someone, it causes something horrible to happen to someone else. And now he has a moral dilemma going on about his helpfulness. Let's check it out.
Huh, well, that's weird, because usually when you start down the right path, you end up in the right place.
Not always, I guess.
Nope, I refuse to accept that. This is just a minor setback, my snazzily dressed friend.
This is what we call argument by pigheadedness, also known as being stubborn. This is a logical fallacy where someone refuses to accept a well-supported argument or evidence simply out of stubbornness or a refusal to change their mind. Are you telling me you could present someone with well-researched evidence and facts and they'll still choose not to believe you? Well, of course, it happens all the time, and it was perfectly shown here with Wander. Even though he keeps doing good deeds and bad things still tend to accidentally happen, Wander refuses to believe outside of the rigid thinking of if you start down the right path, you end up in the right place. I think the stubbornness in this example is so lighthearted because Wander is sticking to a belief system that promotes positivity. The true test is dealing with someone who is stubborn but on being cruel and being evil. I'll just leave you with that one quote by that one comedian dude. It's hard to win an argument with a smart person, but it's damn near impossible to win an argument with a stupid person. And I won't say that people are stupid. I don't think a lot of people are just stupid. They just pretend to be, or they have limited access to information. Anyway, all I have to say is don't ever waste your time arguing with someone who is stubborn. Present your facts, say your piece, and peace off. Don't piss off. Peace off. Okay, what's next? We have another scene from this episode.
Wait! The skies have shifted. The stars do not say you will be a strong and powerful leader. Now the stars say you are immature, awkward, and emotionally unstable.
I am not emotionally unstable! You will pay for this, son!
Anything about a girlfriend, like making out, or even just holding hands, or...
Papers! Obliterate that, son!
This show is so absurd and I love it. So this is an example of the scapegoat fallacy. I'm sure we all, for the most part, know what a scapegoat is. This fallacy is when an individual or group is unfairly blamed for a problem, often without sufficient evidence. And right now, Lord Hater is blaming the sun unfairly for not being a strong and powerful leader. Like, what did the sun do? I feel like you're just trying to shoot the messenger. Lord Hater being immature, awkward, and emotionally unstable is all his doing, clearly. One fact about people who get scapegoated, they're typically introverted and non-confrontational. And yes, our son is so introverted here, doesn't say anything. Poor thing. But yes, people scapegoat as a way to avoid accountability. And if you've watched this show, Lord Hater rarely, or if ever, takes accountability. If you're ever scapegoated, don't be like the sun and stay silent. Remember not to take the blame for anyone and speak up for yourself. Learn to say no and be assertive. Or just come get me and I'll kick someone's ass for you. Next, we have another comic, and this time it's from Psychomanity on psychomanity.com. I don't know why it's taken me this long to reference Psycho in a video. I was just waiting for that perfect opportunity. Okay, so let's read this comic strip. OMG, I feel sinful for trying to do Morgan and Kelfer's voices. I'll make sure to repent and confess later for this. So as you can see by the data, these statistics are promising. I'd like you to promote it to our patients. Is smoking good for you? Abstract. This study investigates the calming effects of tobacco on individuals suffering from anxiety. Over several months, subjects were administered tobacco in various forms, resulting in a significant reduction in nervous systems. Sponsored by Harvest Tobacco Cigarettes. Really? I personally can't stand the smell of it. It's so nauseating. This study shows that temporary systems. Long-term use leads to a stronger esophagus that can withstand the harsh elements of the world. Well, if you say so, the results don't lie. Hey Cal, you look stressed. Bad day too? Yeah, it's Adeline again. I promised my pa to help him at the farm this weekend and she doesn't want me to go cause, I don't know. Well, I might have something that can help your worries. Yeah? Harvest Tobacco Cigarettes are now scientifically proven to burn those anxieties away. Give it a try. I was trying to quit because it was giving me a real bad sore throat, but if it helps... Now I'm going to read these ingredients. Nicotine, methane, arsenic, tar, butane, lead, acetic acid, acetone, ammonia. There's no way this is good for you. And that's why you wear a mask. That last brain freaking kills me. But what we have here is the cherry-picking fallacy. This fallacy occurs when someone presents only the evidence that supports their argument while ignoring evidence that contradicts or weakens their position. Who was the cherry picker in this scene? You have like a couple of seconds to choose who. This is cursed. Let me not sing. Just get your freaking answers. You got them? Okay, if you said Harvest Tobacco, you'd be correct. Their study shows all the benefits of tobacco, but ignores the possible side effects. I mean, Morgan was able to tell the side effects because she's a doctor and knows the effects of cyanide and lead, but to the average person, this is straight up misleading. That study is the most biased article I've ever seen in my entire life, and I just love the satirical nature of it because people really be quoting articles like that, claiming it's gospel. Kind of like the frickin' vaccines cause autism type thing. Like, people will quote, like, biased and faulty articles. Anyways, I had to read through many of these comics to find this example, and I swear I laughed so much, so for sure, check out psychomanity.com. Next, we have a show I rarely talk about. My one claim to fame is liking it back in 2014 when no one else believed in it. Sonic Boom. And in this episode, Eggman sues Sonic in court for injuring him during a battle, and that sounds like a shitpost, but it's 100% real. This episode episode is so freaking dumb and I love it. We have one scene where they're trying to prove that Eggman is a good person, so they have this black and white film with Orbot and Cubot dressed as children while Eggman pushes them, and this is somehow supposed to prove that Eggman is a good person. Anyways, this is what we call a false cause fallacy. This occurs when someone incorrectly assumes a cause and effect relationship between two events, simply because they occur together or in a sequence. To put it simply, one video of Eggman pushing Orbot and Cubot on the swings doesn't make him a good person. To elaborate further, Eggman pushing them on the swings like some kind of loving father figure doesn't mean that during his fight with Sonic, he was still that kind, humble person. If anything, he initiated the fight with his Mothbot. Just because two things happen around the same time or one follows the other doesn't mean one caused the other. And this film was presented as if it happened recently or whatever, but it was just proven to be fake. And in fashion with the show, it was proven to be like bogus in the silliest way possible. If you haven't watched Sonic Boom, please do so. Hell, I'm gonna just link this episode, it's so dumb. But yeah, that's all the examples I have today. I got some final thoughts, and then I'll let y'all pack up and go. First and foremost, go check out all the cartoons and movies I mentioned in this video. I think a lot of these are just on YouTube. You can see how they utilize logical fallacies well as a source of comedy, especially SpongeBob and Sonic Boom. They had a lot more in there. I just didn't want to repeat terminology, but they're just back to back, just satirizing how the way people speak. And it's just, it's just so freaking funny. Also, check out the comics by Psychomanity and Koispeck. They're also YouTubers, artists, and writers. I had the urge to jump scare them today. If you don't see me in a couple of weeks, it's probably because I butchered one of their stories and they ended up killing me for it. But yeah, great examples of logical fallacies, and I doubt it was intentional on their part, ooh, let me just write some manipulation and logical fallacies. Nah, but they were just using humor and satire as a way of storytelling. And if you write jokes, you'll most likely unintentionally use a fallacy, because fallacies and manipulation are pretty funny when you think about it long enough. Anyways, comment down below if you have any characters using logical fallacies, or if you use them for comedy in your writing. I need to know. But for now, I think that's it. That's the video. If you're interested, check out my book 2152, The Trifold Article. It's both animated and illustrated sci-fi and adventure. I talked about the fallacies I use in this book in the first video, so maybe check that out first, because I guess my book is just not funny. It's just all dramatic and sad and angsty. No, it's not. I don't think it is, but man, why didn't I have a comedy example? Anyways, that will be linked below. That will be linked below as well as the newsletter. Make sure you check out the additional links below and see if there's anything that interests you. Like and subscribe or whatever, that is much appreciated. Have fun while creating today, and I'll see you guys later!